Hi everybody, I'm Samantha from Lemon in the Sea, and I am so excited that you have joined me for the DIY Stock Images and Graphics free email and online course. You guys are the first people that are taking this course, and this is the first video that I've made. This is actually the third try, but it's the first video I've made for my blog, and so I'm really excited to be able to share this lesson with you and get some feedback from you guys and really help you to make some great stock images for your blog. So this is lesson 3, and we'll be going over how to edit and save your images that you took so that you get some really great images you can use for stock images on a website or social media, and that you can also turn into graphics, which we'll go over in lesson 4. So today I am going to be using Adobe Photoshop, and I'm using the Creative Cloud version, which you can actually go and download for free for 30 days. If you just go to the Adobe Creative Cloud website, you can sign up for a free trial membership, and I'm going to link to that in the lesson today so that you can download that. If you don't want to download Photoshop, or you think it's going to be too complicated after you watch this video, you can certainly use free online photo editing tools or something that's already on your computer. A lot of the changes we're going to be doing are really simple, and hopefully you've got some really great photos that you've already taken. And of course, the better your photos are when you take them, the better your images are going to turn out. So there's only so much you can do with photo editing, but you can do a lot if you know what you're doing. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen, and you guys will see Photoshop, and I'm going to walk you through how to edit 2 different images that I took, and we're going to talk about that, and then I'm going to send you guys off to edit your own photos. All right. So now I am sharing my screen. You guys can see my Google Hangouts. And this is the opening page of Photoshop CC Creative Cloud. And basically what you have here, you have the top menu here, side menu with all of your tools, and then these are a couple of different windows you can add. You have a layers panel, you have your color picker, just some swatches you can choose from. So there's a lot you can do in Photoshop. If you don't know how to do that, don't worry. We're going to go over some really simple tools that are going to make your images look great without having to do a lot of work. And if you want to learn more about Photoshop, please let me know. I would love to create some more videos and blog posts about different tools. So anything you're wondering about, let me know, and I'm sure that there's a way that I can go over that with you. So to start, we're going to open our images, and hopefully you've already put them on your computer from your camera or from your iPhone, however you needed to do that. And so to open, you just go to File, Open, and you'll see this box pop up, and you'll just browse for wherever your image is saved. Mine are right on the desktop right here. So this is the first one that we're going to do. Now once it opens, you're going to see it right here on the screen, and you will notice that it's sort of its own little tab up here. And in this layers panel, it's called background, and it has this lock. So if it's locked, that means you can't move it around, and you can't make every kind of change to it, but that's okay. You could either unlock it by double clicking and saying okay, or if you want to do like I do, I always go in, right click, duplicate layer, and then rename this. I do that so that the background layer always stays the same, and I never have to worry about losing that. Even if I save the document when I didn't mean to, it will not just get rid of that original image. And that can be really important if you're working with somebody else's image and you don't want to have to, go back and ask them for it. You want to keep that sort of below everything else so you don't see it, but you can still have it there if you ever need to go back to it. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go over a few tools that can make your editing really quick. And this won't work for every type of photograph that you might have, but it will work for some of them. So to do that, you just go here to File, to Image, and then there are 3 tools: Auto Tone, Auto Contrast, and Auto Color. You can select one of those, and you'll see that it makes those changes here. And that really doesn't look too bad. So if you wanted to, you could save this right like this. But I'm going to go in and undo this so that I can show you how to get a little bit more custom with your images. Now, back in this Layers panel, you will see that there's this little half filled in circle. And that is just a menu with some different options that you can pick. So we're going to go over a few of my favorites. The first is brightness and contrast. This window will pop up and you can adjust your brightness and contrast. And you can really, the best way is to just play around with it and see what you like. I like to bump up the contrast usually, make the colors stand out. And then when you're done, you can hit this button with the double arrow, and you'll see that it puts it as a layer down here. So basically what this is doing is it's putting your brightness and contrast settings on top of all of the images underneath it. So if I turn it off by hitting this button, the eye goes away. Now you can see what it originally looked like, and this is with the changes that you just made. Now, if there is ever an instance where you have part of an image showing, so if only part of this original image was showing and there was something else underneath it, you can always go here, right-click, and say Create Clipping Mask, and that means that this brightness and contrast layer will only affect this image that's right beneath it. But for this, it's not really that important. So then another tool that I like to use is the curves. And basically what this does is you have this diagonal line. That's the way your image is already set up. Anything above that line is moving it to lighter, so it goes from dark to light. Anything below is darker. So I like to just come here, pick a point. I can move it up a little bit to make the whites whiter. I can move it down a little bit to make the darks darker, and make some adjustments. Another way that you can use the curves tool, I'll turn that one off and I'll open up a new one, is with these eyedropper tools. So if you click on this white eyedropper and you click on the white part of your image, it's going to make that pure white and it will adjust the image around that. So I clicked on a white part, but say I came in here and I clicked on this pink and told it that that was pure white, you can see how that changes the image. Now it will just reset it to whatever you click, so you can click around until it looks the way that you want it to. So depending on which white you choose, it's going to adjust the image accordingly. You can also use this black eyedropper tool, select the darkest part of the image, and that will make that pure black, and it'll adjust everything else. Now, that doesn't look quite as nice, so I'm going to turn that off and turn the other layer that I did manually on. If you go back to that same menu and you pull up the levels, you can see here sort of the range of whites and darks that are on here. So since these lines are shorter, that means there's less dark colors. There's a lot of white in this image. If I just move this slider down, it's going to make everything whiter. And if I move this one up, it's going to make everything darker. So the best way to use this is if you have an image where the white doesn't come all the way up, you can sort of adjust it down so that you get a pure white at some point. Now, if you want to play with the colors a little bit, we've got the background's looking pretty nice, but if we want to play with the colors, we can do a couple of things. We can come in here and do a color balance, which brings up these sliders, and as you slide them around, it's going to change the color of the whole image. And I don't really want to do that, so I'm going to delete it. Or I can go in and change the vibrance. It's going to make the colors stand out more or less. I can increase or decrease the saturation. So if you decrease the saturation, that's going to be a grayscale image, and if you increase it, it's going to really pop out those colors, and it's going to find the colors everywhere in the photo. So I'm going to leave this on, oops, on 0. And you can also play around with a couple other things. There are photo filters. You know, this is how you could get sort of that sepia tone. You could get just different overlay colors on there. There's a lot that you can do, and the best part about doing it this way is you just turn it on or you turn it off, and you don't ever destroy this bottom layer. All right, so this looks pretty good to me. We're going to go ahead and save it. File, Save As. And the default when you bring this up is going to be a Photoshop PSD file, and that will give you access to all these layers again, so you can go in and change them at any time. But I like to save mine as a TIFF. It gives you all the layers, but it takes up a little bit less space, and it allows you to open it on more devices. So I'm going to save it as a TIFF, stock image, save as. I leave all of these at the defaults, and it'll save that. You can also save this as a JPEG through here. Just go in and change it to JPEG. But if you're going to use this on a website or anywhere pretty much online, you want to save it for web, which is going to save the colors as web safe colors, which means that the colors you see here are going to be the colors you see on your web browser, and it's going to decrease the pixels per inch, which will make this file size smaller and makes it faster to load. And it's totally okay to do that because computer screens can only show things at 72 pixels per inch anyway, so there's no need to have them be larger. To do that, you just go to File, Export, and then Save for Web. And it's just going to bring up this. I leave it as JPEG. You can go in and change some of these things, but it's really not necessary. Save. This will just go right onto the desktop. There you go. You can see my images are right here. So let's do one other example of something that's a little bit easier, takes a little bit less adjusting. So you guys might recognize this image. It is the photo from the landing page where you guys signed up for this course, and I got a lot of compliments on it, so I'm really glad because I like this image a lot. And right now you can see it looks a little bit washed out. You know, you can't make out the vividness of the colors, and so we're going to fix that. Basically, we just do the same thing. We go in, we duplicate the layer, go in here. I'm going to just turn the contrast up a bit. We don't really need to do the brightness because it's already a pretty bright image. We can go in, maybe do the curves. Just make the darks a little bit darker. Help stand out, pull out the shadows a little bit. And, oops, that's just a group, but I'm going to delete that. And we're going to go into the vibrance and saturation. I'm going to turn that up. So if I turned it all the way up, all the way down. I'm just going to pick something in the middle. Saturated, not saturated. I might pick something with a little bit more saturation. And that's just really going to help the image pop. It's going to help the colors stand out, and it gives a really nice, clean look. And I'll go in and save this the same way. File, Save As, save this as a TIFF again. And then I'll save it for the web file, export, save for web, and just go ahead and save that. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Hopefully. There we are. All right, there I am. Okay, so we went over that. You guys can make these images, these changes to your images really quickly and easily through Photoshop, save them as JPEGs, and we will be able to do a lot with them tomorrow when we turn them into graphics. So what you're going to want to do for tomorrow is download Adobe Illustrator, which you can also get from Creative Cloud. It's the same thing, 30 days for free. So go ahead and download that, and we'll walk through some steps tomorrow, how to use that and turn things into graphics. And if you like this video and this course, please share it with your friends. You know, I really want to help everyone be able to create a unique brand and presence online and just really get themselves noticed. You know, you need to stand out online, and this is one great way to do it. And I would love to be able to share what I've learned over the past 7 years with all of you. Thank you guys so much, and I am really excited for you to come back tomorrow.